running secret concentration camps in Gaza. Well, not so secretively anymore. Our next guest, journalist Dan Cohen from Uncaptured Media, has uncovered a bombshell about what the CIA is actually doing in Gaza, fresh off his recent trip to Israel. Dan Cohen joins us now. Dan, when I saw your report, my jaw hit the floor. The CIA running concentration camps in Gaza, what did you find?
Yeah, Clayton, that's basically the plan. Right now, the U.S. and Israel have approved a plan to send 1,000 CIA-trained mercenaries, American soldiers, former British soldiers, French, Kurdish soldiers, to create what are concentration camps in the Gaza Strip. And they're basically what they want to do is clear out all resistance in the north of Gaza, which of course is being ethnically cleansed, and we're seeing daily massacres in this area right now. And they want to take a village, a neighborhood called Al-Tatra in the northwest of Gaza, and use this as basically a test case to take Palestinians, concentrate them inside neighborhoods and surround them with walls that they can only enter and exit with using biometric data. So whether that's fingerprints or their eyes, their pupils, their retinas, who knows what it might be. They don't specify, but this is a very modern, technologically sophisticated version of the same kind of concentration camps that what was in Vietnam the U.S. used. They called the Strategic Hamlet Program, or was used in Iraq and Afghanistan, where they called it gated communities, was the nice flowery term they used. And so they want to roll this program out. It's been approved by Jake Sullivan, the White House National Security Advisor, who is basically running the foreign policy of the United States, because obviously Joe Biden isn't and Kamala Harris isn't. So this unelected bureaucrat, this war hawk who famously said Al-Qaeda is on our side in Syria to Hillary Clinton, is now running our foreign policy and has approved this. So it's being done through a private company run by an Israeli-American businessman named Moti Kahana. His company he calls the Uber for war zones. So privatized version. So they can send these mercenaries to basically surround these walled off ghettos, and people living inside can only get humanitarian aid if they submit their biometric data and they're approved. The others who don't will
Woo-wee. Sounds familiar, huh? But I want to say shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. I like to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noah's in this gospel, bro, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is just another lesson through the Spirit. You hear what this guy is basically going into. It says, CIA running concentration camps in Gaza. New plans revealed. Now, he made some very key points in this statement he made. He stated that soldiers patrolling walled-off villages or ghettos, okay? And when you think of ghettos, hint, hint, right? And then he mentioned that gated communities, and another way of gated community is being concentrated into a particular place. Now, when you think of gated communities, right, let's look at it this way. Let's look up a gated community, right? So when you think of gated communities, you think of something like this, right? Place that you ain't supposed to be. You darker than you're darker than a brown paper bag. You get harassed in premises like this, right? $1 million homes. Nah, it's not talking about this type of gated community. This is what it's talking about. FEMA camps, concentration camps, all right? Stuff like this. Gated communities. All right, this ain't Leawood, this ain't Overland Park. Okay, this ain't Greenwich, upstate New York. This ain't Beverly Hills in Cali. Okay, this ain't the Beverly Hills in Chicago or Sauk Village or Country Club Hills. No, this is what it's talking about. And he mentioned to keep the Palestinians in internment camps, and only how they can get the aid that they need is if they submit to basically a biometric or some type of biometric data transfer, meaning that they have to give their fingerprints, eye scans, or some type of form of declaration to prove who they are in order to get that humanitarian aid, man. And that's a test run for what they're getting ready to do here in America, man. All right. Now, you look up biometric, right? And this is what it means here. Okay, bio meaning, I believe body metric means like metrics or numbers or measurement. But it says a measurable physical characteristics or personal behavior trait used to recognize the identity or to verify the claim identity of an applicant. Facial images, fingerprints, and iris scans samples are example of biometrics. So why do they have to give this particular information in order to get humanitarian aid over there? Why? Because this is the way of the new world. Okay, anybody that opposes the New World Order, they're gonna have to be put into these concentration camps to be executed. And you heard what he stated, man. Okay, now he didn't go out into the torture shit, but nonetheless, you better believe that they're gonna have guillotines in these FEMA camps. And I'm not speaking of the camps in Gaza, okay? But that's just a prelude as to what they get ready to do here in America and around the world, okay? Because ultimately speaking, they mentioned it and they said that they had like over 800 active FEMA camps in America. Now, they written that off as a conspiracy, but they showed you movies like Siege with Denzel Washington. I believe it was one scene that all those people was in these concentration camps. Okay, you got a movie called Enemy of the State with Will Smith. Okay, they showed you the Purge movies. They showed you a lot of these doomsday movies when people were hauled off into these internment camps, man. Okay, even the movie Civil War, they didn't really go into the internment camps, but they even showed you that how baseball stadiums were abandoned and how people were living in them. So when all hell breaks loose and Esau declares a national emergency on a federal level, that's when a lot of these arenas, like, Kemper Arena or T-Mobile Center, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Royals, the Chicago White Sox, these particular United Centers and these particular centers that holds up to thousands of people can be used in a state of an emergency. Because even when you read it, they stated that in a time of an insurrection or martial law is declared, the government can come in and they can use facilities, they can use people's vehicles, they can use your homes to house people for a temporary time, okay, until, the said threat be over. And we've been in a national emergency since 1930s, roughly around that time. So it ain't nothing for Esau to declare a national emergency on a federal level. Okay, on a state level, FEMA comes in and, they allegedly give aid and, they displace people and they send people here and there. But on a federal level, this is when interstates and shit like that will be used, and they'll have to block off highways so you can't get from one city to the next. That's on a federal level. And hey, depending on what happens from here to another week and thereafter, whenever all hell break loose, then Esau can declare a national emergency on a federal level, and then they can, they could come in and they can do what they have to do. Okay, but the point about it is, he mentioned biometrics. They can't get help. They can't get aid. They can't get out unless they get this biometric shit, okay? And me personally, I believe that's going to be in the form of a microchip. Like we've been saying time and time again, the men of the Great Millstone have been warning Israelites out there that the microchip, the RFID chip, okay, which is the mark of the beast, according to the Bible, that will be the creme de la creme on whether you are able to survive in this place or not. Okay, so we're in them times, all right? So let me play a couple more minutes of the video, and we'll get a couple of precepts and let it be that. Try to keep these videos under 30 minutes, man. That way, the spirit is flowing without tire. So here we go.
Not receive any aid, meaning food, water, medicine, anything like that, and presumably those ones will be killed. So This is the counterinsurgency model that the U.S. has applied again and again in the post-World War II era that has failed repeatedly. And I think it's likely to fail in Gaza, as Palestinians are sure to resist.
So let me see if I get this right. The United States government under Jake Sullivan and the warmongers in Washington, D.C. have approved a plan that basically funnels millions of dollars to a private company that's going to use former American soldiers, CIA operatives, French soldiers.
Yes, those are called like mercenaries, so to speak, which mercenaries just come in and get the job done. They come in and they kill, but they're using former soldiers from all these Edomite governments, man, to run these internment camps, okay? Now, it's how can I say it? It's one of those things that you got places like BlackRock, you got a lot of off-military corporations that the government comes in and they hire under these particular contracts on the black ops sites, man, and they go in there and they run these drills, and they they come up with these mandates to house people, and then they just do what they have to do because they're under contract, and them government contracts, they ain't cheap, man. So let's just say if the United States government have a $30 million contract with Blackwater and they want that money, they gonna do what they gotta do, okay? Because anybody knows that the best type of work is outside of the freelancing shit. The best type of work, honestly speaking, is getting those contracts, man. Like if you a contractor, you can make way more money. Like I've seen it. Like when I worked for this particular organization, they pay us an hourly wage to do something that they will pay a whole different company $40-50 million to come in and do and fuck up. So a lot of times you get those government contracts, and then you have what they call prevailing wage, and you get prevailing wages on a government contract, you gonna take home some money. So these men could be taking home $12,000-13,000 a fucking month. Okay, sometimes probably in a week, who knows? Like I saw a video a couple of weeks ago too. I believe it was in Chicago, and I believe it was one of the newer Holiday Inns, and basically they closed it off to the public, but they was letting the migrants go up in there. And yet those people that was working for those contracts, they was getting hand over fist. I mean, they was bringing home roughly $100,000+, man, for just being security there. So the money is there. So they gonna do what they gotta do because they want that money, man. All right.
There's British soldiers, etc., mercenaries, bring them together to execute this plan, and then they can basically sit back and wash their hands of it because it's being run through a non-governmental organization, right?
NGOs.
CIA is not involved in this. We've just simply cut a check for it.
Right, exactly. And the man who's actually designing the entire thing, his name is Justin Sapp. He's a longtime American CIA operative official who was one of the first, who led the CIA paramilitaries when the U.S. invaded Afghanistan after the 9/11 attacks. And now this guy is is tasked with designing this whole plan for Gaza. And if it's successful in this one neighborhood in Gaza, this is what they want to do throughout it. Now, I reported last November 2023, that the U.S. military's top publication had published an article by a guy named Omer Dostri, who then went on to become Benjamin Netanyahu's spokesperson. And this article called not only for the total destruction of Lebanon, but laid out a few different options for how Israel should handle Gaza, for what to do in the long term.
Well, yeah, that guy Netanyahu said he want to make an ethnic cleansing of that land, so he wants to destroy those people over there, and really it belongs to neither one of them fucking people. All right, that's our land, but that just to show you what they get ready to do here. They starting over there, then in just a matter of time. Like we tell you, man, when this new attack or whatever they get ready to do, and they decide to shut the economy down or however they gonna do, then that's when you're gonna start seeing these particular camps and shit pop up, man, and that's when people are they're gonna lose their marbles. All right, so it's not above the possibility or realm of a possibility or realistically to put people in these centers, and they're gonna want to microchip people. That's the whole plan. Okay, they want to put you against a situation that's gonna go against your better judgment. You know what I'm saying? So they can fit you with this chip. So they gonna throw the kitchen sink at people, man. All right, and the prophets, we've warned you of this, and Yahweh Shai warned us. All right, so this is Revelation 2, and I'm gonna start at verses 10. It says, "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days." Okay, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. All right, so some brothers that may get caught up in this predicament, you have to understand that you're not caught up in this predicament because it's a punishment unto you, but it's a test. Okay, these people that get caught up in these camps, that's going to be a punishment to them, like them cackling hyenas we saw in the last video. They're going to get in there and they're going to get tortured because the Lord has had it with their bullshit, But the brothers that get caught up in this situation when they have to go to the prisons or the FEMA camps, hey man, just keep the faith. The Lord, he has a way out of it. How about you? How Shah has a way for us to survive this thing, man. All right. So don't get disarrayed. They kick in your door and put the bag over your head and throw you in a black van and say, we gonna take you to the nearest FEMA camp. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta just trust the process, man. Because I remember back in 2020 when they was scaring the shit out of everybody, brothers was doing lessons on, this, and brothers particular was like, well, look, man, you just gotta let shit play out. Okay, they come in your door, don't be crashing out right then and there. You let it play out through the spirit. You let it play out through faith. The Lord wants you to defend yourself. He will set up provisions for that to be what it is. So don't force the spirit. Just know the spirit. So it ain't nothing we have to worry about. But even then, it's still uncomfortable being put in these predicaments. You in this dark ass prison and, just it's bad, man. Like in that Venom movie, he straight up told him after he vindicated him, he said, everything that you done is Venom, we gonna pardon. But he said, if you mention this again, he said, I promise you, you will spend the rest of your life in the darkest, coldest prison. So that's the reality of these things. So they're out here, okay, and this time is coming. It's already here. Okay, they just waiting on the perfect attack or the perfect scenario to do what they have to do. And we speculated that it can be sometime around or after the election. Me personally, I think it may be sometime after the election. Not saying that it's going to happen after the election, but we do know that eventually they will shut the society down. In 2025, the way it's looking, hey, it may be just that. Just depending. But fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that they may be tried. You shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death. I will give thee a crown of life. All right. So we ain't got shit to worry about. These people do, because ultimately we know that we're not going to bow down to this man's mark. You go into the book of Daniel, same account when they threw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into the furnace. Okay. Because they didn't bow down to the image that the king had set up at that time. It's going to be a similar situation. Okay. May threaten brothers with death, threaten to kill their families, their children. But ultimately, you got to stay firm in your Yahweh Shai, man. And you can't let those worldly attachments deter you from your faith, because ultimately they're going to try to break your faith, especially if they know they can hold something that's of leverage. If you got kids and you got wives and you're very fond of them, which I'm not saying don't be fond of your family, but if they know that your daughter, your son, or your wife is your weak spot, then why not crank at that? That's what they're going to use, because ultimately they want to get the men of the Lord, So it's better to not have no attachments in this thing, as the Apostle Gabar always going to his best to really be alone. Because when you have no attachments to this place, and ain't really nothing they can threaten you with. The more you have, the more liability and the more they can use against you. But if you got the spirit, then it is what it is. All right. 2nd Esdras 2, and I'm going to start at 2nd Esdras 16, and I'm going to start at verses 68. It says, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they should take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. Yeah, man, we're being fed that shit every day, from the food to the liquor, the water, okay, the clothes we wear. But ultimately, that big idol is going to be that MOT to the busy, MOTB, which they're going to force everybody to get, because through the spirit, that is what they, through the spirit, that is what they want to apply, And it says here, for behold, a burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they should take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. And they that consent unto them should be had in derision and reproach and trodden underfoot, right? Okay, so if you consent to them, because people are going to be idle in these detention centers. You know, they're going to have women here, men here, children here. And, hey, there's going to be all types of shit. People going to be getting put to death. They're called death concentration camps, man. Okay, go back into the time of World War II when the Japanese was in the camps. Okay, they had the small heads, you had Germans, you had all types of shit going down, man. All right, and even then, there's something called the 1790 or 83 Acts. I keep forgetting it, but the shit that Trump is trying to invoke basically goes back to somewhat of fashion of this particular bill that they want to. It's called the Immigrant Enemies Act. When they detain these so-called migrants and then put them in these camps for deportation, but the reality of it is they ain't gonna deport you. They just want to put you to death in there because that's just what Esau does. All right. But it says here, and they that consented to them should be had in derision and reproach and trodden underfoot. For there should be in every city and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord, which is the Israelites. And they should be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear Yahweh. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Right, because they're going to go door to door doing so-called wellness checks to make sure you have the latest juice in you. You know, shit, the latest juice, and on top of that, you got to have the MOTB. So if you don't have that MOTB, then eventually they're going to write you off like, okay, you must be a threat to the society. So either they write you off or they put you down. Okay, but that's the reality of what's coming, all right? FEMA camps, concentration camps, martial law, RFID microchips, economic collapse. This is the reality of the world that we're getting ready to enter, you know? And it says here, for they should know who are my chosen, and they should be tried as gold in the fire. But here, O ye my beloved, says Yahweh, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. So be ye neither afraid nor doubt, for the Most High is your guide. So this is basically, that's our hope, that the Lord will deliver us from this coming trouble, this tribulation. Because when it lays out in Revelation, the 13th chapter, it tells us, Revelation 13 and 16, it says, and he calls it all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hands or their foreheads. And most people he's going to threaten with this is because he's going to take away certain amenities that people are used to. The homes, the jobs, you know, the health care, the food stamps, the child support, okay? Like, now they, damn, I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, basically, man, like we was going into this article over the weekend at the camp, you know, how basically they want to partner up these private sectors with these public sectors and make them one entity, man, run by corporations and NGOs, which is non-government organizations, because basically NGOs can do the bidding of the government without the government. It's basically like a shadow thing, man. It's like a shadow government. They pay them to do the bidding of these corporations or these government corporations. That way it don't fall back on the government shoulders, man. Like mandating the juice and shit like that, like PFS, IZR, GOHN, SON, all those particular NGOs, they use those to push certain ramifications on people, so therefore the government can be immune from being sued, you know? And this is the same thing with this, because honestly speaking, declaring martial law and FEMA camps, that's totally unconstitutional. Putting a microscopic tag in somebody, that's unconstitutional. But under these particular mandates, when they suspend the election, or I mean, when they suspend the Constitution under emergency declaration orders, this is the result of it, man. All right? So they can force you to do whatever the hell they want you to do. And it says on their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here's wisdom. Let him that understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 636. Okay? So I'm going to end it there, giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Lord's will, you will edify. Until the next lesson. Shalom.